ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Please bear with me. It will take me a minute or so to share the screen. Just give me a second. Gurudev. So yesterday we stopped at, we went through this one more time, is verse number 38. वसुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि. And then we went on to एषा ते विहिता सांख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे त्विमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि. So this wisdom with reference to self-knowledge has so far been told to you. Now Listen also to the wisdom of yoga, endowed with which you will get rid of the bondage of action, O son of Pritha. So, in verses 11 through 30 of this chapter, the knowledge taught by Krishna to Arjuna is Sankhya, meaning Brahman, the nature of reality of the Atma. Whereas verses 31 to 38 are purely contextual and have nothing to do with the nature of the Atma. These 8 verses are therefore unconnected to the topic under discussion and are not referred to in the present verse as the knowledge given thus far. They can, however, be brought under yoga or dharma. Although not Sankhya Shastra, they are contextual in the flow, representing a particular argument from the standpoint of one's dharma alone, entailing simple worldly reasoning. The argument presented is not from the standpoint of Paramatma. It relates only to what is to be done at a given time. So, this is with respect to the verses 31 to 38. They're only contextual verses because that is how we need to understand this present verse. This present verse says what? Esha te bihita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shrunu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. He says this wisdom with reference to self-knowledge has so far been told. So that so far being told is from verse 11 to 30. Because 31 to 38 are just contextual verses which are goading Arjuna to just do his bit. So it's just telling Arjuna what will happen if he does not do it. So those verses 30, 31 to 31 to 38.
38. Yeah.
Yeah. स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याधियुद्धात् श्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते. Dr. Mara, do you have the meanings of these, the Gita home study? 31 to 38. If not, I will just read it from the Gita press book that I have. So, besides considering your own duty too, you should not waver, for there is nothing more welcome for a man of the warrior class than a righteous war. यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्. Arjuna, fortunate are the Kshatriyas who get such an unsolicited opportunity for war, which is an open gateway to heaven. अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि. Now, if you refuse to fight this righteous war, then, shrinking your duty and losing your reputation, you will incur sin. अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम् सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिः मरणादतिरिच्यते. Nay, people will also pour undying infamy on you, and infamy brought on a man enjoying popular esteem is worse than death. भयाद्रणादुपरतं मन्स्यन्ते त्वां महारथाः येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्. And the warrior chiefs who thought highly of you will now despise you, thinking that it was fear which drove you away from battle. अवाच्य वादांश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्. And your enemies Disparaging your might will speak many unbecoming words. What can be more distressing than this? Hato va prapsyase swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim tasmaduttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nischayah. Die and you will win heaven. Conquer and you will enjoy sovereignty of the earth. Therefore stand up, Arjuna, determined to fight. सुखदुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभालाभौ जयाजयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि. Treating alike victory and defeat, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, get ready for the battle. Fighting thus, you will not incur sin. So till here, these were all contextual verses. So this wisdom with reference to self-knowledge that Krishna is talking of in the present verse 39 is with respect to verses 11 through 30 that talk about Atma and the nature of the Atma. So in verse 11 through 16 of this chapter, Bhagavan introduced the topic under discussion, that is the nature of Atma, and then went on to explain it in depth. Because its subject matter is Sankhya, the chapter is called Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya alone is not discussed here. Other topics are also mentioned. For instance, Krishna talks about Karma Yoga, as we are about to see. Sankhya, however, is definitely the predominant topic throughout the chapter. It is unlikely that Vyasa himself actually gave the Gita chapters their titles. They were probably added by others to indicate the central topic of each chapter. In all the chapters, the topics indicated by their titles are discussed, along with other topics. In fact, although the 12th chapter is called Bhakti Yoga, there is an even more extensive discussion on this topic, Bhakti, in the 11th chapter, where Arjuna praised Lord Krishna. Similarly, in the chapter titled Meditation, Dhyana itself. Up to the point we have reached in this chapter, Sankhya has been taught, and this particular verse is a provisional conclusion of the topic. So, it's a conclusion of the topic of Sankhya. For those who study Vedanta Shastra, it is very important to know why Krishna concluded the topic here as he did. The reason is that there are two Shastras within the Gita Shastra, the Karma Shastra and the Moksha Shastra. Karma Shastra is the Karma Kanda, which discusses the various rituals, karmas or means, sadhanas to gain various ends, sadhyas. Karma Kanda is also Veda, but karma is its subject matter. The subject matter of Moksha Shastra is knowledge, jnana. So there are two Shastras within the Gita Shastra. What are they? The Karma Shastra and the Moksha Shastra. Karma Shastra is the one that talks about the Karma Kanda aspect of the Veda. That is all the different various rituals, means, sadhanas to gain various sadhyas. Whereas Moksha Shastra talks only about knowledge. The subject matter is knowledge, jnana. So the difference between Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga, because we went through this yesterday, but we'll go in again to gain more clarity. Moksha Shastra can be viewed from two standpoints with reference to the two possible lifestyles. So let's get the train of thought. We have Gita Shastra has Karma Shastra and Moksha Shastra. Moksha Shastra talks only about knowledge, jnana. Moksha Shastra has two lifestyles, Karma Yoga and Sannyasa or Sankhya. Both are meant for moksha alone. Because the difference between karma and karma yoga must be clearly understood, Krishna talked about it. Doing karma for the sake of self purification is karma yoga. It indicates that the person has discrimination, viveka, and knows that he or she wants moksha because to gain moksha, one requires a certain mind. And to gain that mind, one performs actions, karmas, with a certain attitude. That attitude converts it into yoga. Merely doing karma is not yoga. For example, there is a set of prayers called Nitya Karmas that are to be done daily. One of these prayers is called Sandhya Vandana. Vandana means salutation or prayer, and Sandhya refers to the 3 times of day that the prayer is to be performed. In the morning as the sun rises, at noon, and in the evening as the sun sets. The literal meaning of Sandhya is a time when two periods of time meet. For example, it indicates the time when the day has not yet begun because the sun has not risen, but the night has already rolled away. Similarly, another Sandhya is when the sun has already set, but the night has not yet come. The third Sandhya is in the middle, exactly at noon, neither forenoon nor afternoon. These Nitya Karmas can be done for the sake of some result later or for the sake of purifying the mind, Antakarana Shuddhi. Why would anyone want Antakarana Shuddhi? Because the mind, Antakarana, is necessary for gaining self-knowledge. Therefore, karma is performed as an indirect means for moksha to prepare the mind for gaining the knowledge. When the prayer is done for Antakarana Shuddhi, the person has no other result in mind. He or she only asks that the Lord be pleased with the karma and bless him or her with a purified mind. Karma may be performed out of joy or out of a concept of duty as a prayer. When it is performed as a prayer for the sake of Antakarana Shuddhi and moksha, it becomes a yoga. A number of topics come under Karma Yoga, including prayer, devotion, samadhi, and Ashtanga Yoga for the sake of samadhi, all of which are stated in Shankara's Bhashya to this verse. The verse itself reveals that there is a division or difference between the two subject matters, Sankhya and Karma Yoga. If this division is not clear, the entire Gita will appear to be full of contradictions and the listener will be confused. Whereas, if the division is clear, understanding is possible. The listener will know what is meant when it is said that for the sannyasis there is only Jnana Yoga, and for the others who are also seekers, Karma Yoga is the means for gaining moksha.
Excuse me. This means Nitya Karma, whatever the Sandhya Vandana and all that, it doesn't fall in Karma Kanda.
No, it falls under Karma Kanda only.
Mm-hmm.
All the Nitya Karma rituals, all of them are under the Karma Shastra, in the Karma Kanda part of the Vedas.
But if we do with the intention of getting Antakarana Shuddhi, it becomes Karma Yoga.
Very right.
That's good.
Very right. So it is only the attitude which makes it a yoga. If you're doing it with an attitude of gaining a result, of gaining heaven, punya later, then it just becomes karma shastra. It does not become a karma kanda. It doesn't become karma yoga. Karma yoga and sannyasa are both lifestyles, two lifestyles that are explained in the moksha shastra aspect of the Gita shastra. So both have a same common goal, which is moksha. A sannyasi has kind of purified his mind enough. He just needs to pursue knowledge. Whereas for a karma yogi, he's also a seeker. He still has to purify his mind. So there's an indirect means. Karma is therefore an indirect means there for moksha, in the sense it cleanses the mind. It purifies the mind. Because a purified mind is required to gain the self knowledge. It cannot happen in any mind. So just doing karma does not become karma yoga. Doing your duty, doing your karma with an attitude of purifying your mind, not for any other gain, not to gain a better birth next time, not to gain punya for heaven, then it becomes karma yoga.
Otherwise, you're only a karmi.
You're only a karmi, right? See, where we are, forget about karmi. Karmi is the one who actually at least follows the karma kanda. Where are we in that rung of people, of seekers? You can start from the bottom, is a person who's just following his raga dveshas. He may be just, a slave of his raga dveshas. And then comes a person who's just following dharma, just an ethical person. Ethical person does not even, like an atheist, he does not consider God as present. He doesn't consider there is a divinity, a superpower. Then comes a dharmi, one who follows dharma, who recognizes that there is, who is an atheist, at least he follows the Vedas, does the karma kanda. And then beyond that is a karma yoga, a karma yogi, who actually not only is doing his duty, he's doing it without raga dvesha, number one. He's doing it dharmically, he's following dharma, he's following the order. Third is he recognizes there is a higher power, Ishvara. Unto him, he offers all his actions. And the only one prayer that the karma yogi has is to gain that antakarna shuddhi. So we need to place where we stand in this order. Because to be a karma yogi is in itself a challenging thing. So are we really being karma yogis in all that we do? It's something that we will have to just introspect.
We have to aim at moksha only.
Right. So that should be the
That is the
topmost
main.
priority.
That should be the main
Mm,
goal.
yeah.
Then
Which is
everything falls in.
correct. Which is why, if you remember, Swami Suryapada Charana had mentioned, in your list of to-dos, if moksha is your bottom in the priority list, forget about it. It has to be the foremost. After that comes anything else. It does not mean, again, that you relegate your daily duties. No. Krishna very clearly says, even here he says, Swadharmam, do your Swadharma. And that verse in 18th chapter, Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swadhar swadhar no tamabhyarcha swadharmam tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manava. So
In this chapter also he says, no,
he says,
you do your duty, you will not incur the sin. You just do your duty with dharma, not with any other mean,
right,
just to gain the moksha. Then you don't occur the sin, because we are afraid of sinning ourselves. Oh, if I do like this, they will be hurt and all that. That emotion, which Arjuna was in the doubt. So he clarifies that. Just get up and do your dharma,
Without doership.
doership. Then you will not, that is what the karma yoga is. And then you will not incur the sin and do it as your, for the moksha sake only. That should be the goal. Main goal is that whatever we do, we just have to see where it leads. Are we doing it with raga dvesha? Okay, raga dvesha also is, because if I am hungry, I have to eat it. That is dharma. It doesn't mean that you don't have to eat. So that is dharma. So whatever we do, if it is according to dharma and for dharma's sake, with viveka and also with vairagya, which leads to the moksha. Very good. Thank you.
so the subject matter of this knowledge is Sankhya, a discriminative presentation of what is real and what is not real. Every step of the unfoldment is based on discrimination. For example, the body Deha is subject to death, whereas the one who dwells in the body Dehi is not, and so on. The discrimination is presented because people usually think that when the Deha is destroyed, the Dehi is also destroyed. When one is not mistaken for the other, there is discrimination. And it is this knowledge that has been given with reference to the reality of the Atma. Thus, Krishna said, so far, whatever I have taught you is with reference to Sankhya. Sankhye esha buddhihi maya abhihita tubhyam. I just remembered one thing regarding this discrimination between the Deha and the Dehi is when a person dies, someone that is close to us dies, if we are rooted in this knowledge, this discrimination is established within us, then you would not really be as miserable as someone who does not have the discrimination. Because we think when the Deha dies, when the Deha passes on, the Dehi also passes on. But if we know that the Dehi is eternal, it is only the Deha, just like how we remove our garments, we change our old clothes for new clothes. Just like how childhood dies, youth appears, youth is born. Youth dies and old age is born. Similarly, this is only a phase. It is only another phase of life. Whereas the Dehi is eternal. So if we are rooted in this, then even death will not disturb us, will not disturb the tranquility that we have. And which is very evident in how Gurudev took the death of his own mother, his father.
Just the drama is over. That's all. That means this.
So there is this discrimination is ingrained in every aspect of the Sankhya. It's a discriminative presentation of what is real and what is not real. And in one of the other knowledge tidbits Gurudev gave, he says, what is the reason for sadness? The reason for sadness is because we do not, we hold on to what is not real as real, and then that makes us sad. We think the world, situations, people, what people say, what we go through, all that we think is real and we hold on to it, which is actually impermanent. So we are holding on to something which is impermanent and considering that as permanent. And knowing this difference is what is Viveka. Viveka is knowing what is permanent and what is impermanent. So when one is not mistaken for the other, there is discrimination, and it is this knowledge that has been given with reference to the reality of the Atma. Thus Krishna said, so far whatever I have taught you is with reference to Sankhya. Sankhye esha buddhihi maya abhihita tubhyam. What can knowledge do? And what does knowledge do? It removes ignorance. Knowledge is the cause for the removal of ignorance. It cannot do anything else. Ignorance itself is the problem, it being the cause for false pursuits and sorrow, samsara. To think that heaven will be an answer to all my problems is delusion, moha. Moha is thinking that sorrow can be removed by reaching somewhere or gaining this or that. Knowledge of the reality of Atma removes this ignorance and therefore is the direct cause for moksha. I will repeat this paragraph again. What can knowledge do? And what does knowledge do? It removes ignorance. Knowledge is the cause for the removal of ignorance. It cannot do anything else. Ignorance itself is the problem, it being the cause for false pursuits and sorrow, which is samsara. To think that heaven will be an answer to all my problems is delusion, moha. Moha is thinking that sorrow can be removed by reaching somewhere or gaining this or that. Knowledge of the reality of Atma removes this ignorance and therefore is the direct cause for moksha. So here there are two aspects for us to understand. One is ignorance itself, ajnana itself, which is the basic fundamental problem. The second is moha, delusion. That you do this ritual, you will gain this punya. You do that, you'll get out of sorrow. But when you have the knowledge of the Atma and you are discriminative in your attitude towards karma, then you get rid of moha first. We need to get rid of moha first, and then, of course, ajnana. And what does knowledge do? Just like how light, when shown, removes darkness, when knowledge just removes ignorance. And in order for this knowledge to dawn, you require a purified mind. It cannot happen in a mind that is impure. And what causes impurity of the mind is basically raga dvesha. And along with that come all the train of negative attitudes, qualities. So cleaning the mind out of cleaning the mind, keeping it clean without raga dveshas is what karma yoga does. So we'll see that. What can karma yoga do? Is there also an indirect cause for moksha? The Bhashya says that there is, and that will be taught. That there are two different topics is clear. Krishna himself says, Sankhye buddhihi abhihita, yoge tu imam shrunu. This wisdom with reference to self knowledge has so far been told to you. Now, listen to the wisdom of yoga. Shankara deals with this point thoroughly because even in his day, there was a great deal of controversy about whether the Gita Shastra talks about karma, jnana, or a synthesis of the two. There were many such notions in one form or other. Therefore, Bhashyakara spends a considerable amount of time here pointing out the distinction and then saying, now listen to what I'm going to say about Karma Yoga. Any discipline is useful because it helps one gain a certain composure, a certain mastery over the opposites, as we saw in the preceding verse. Therefore, all disciplines are called yoga. This composure is necessary for the mind to be able to receive the knowledge. To gain the composure, you require karma yoga. Karma yoga, therefore, becomes an indirect means, not a direct means for gaining the knowledge. You cannot say, I will take karma yoga and you take jnana yoga and we will both reach the same end. It is not like that. If karma yoga is presented as a means for gaining the knowledge that will destroy ignorance, one may ask why the study of the Shastra alone cannot do that. The reason is that study of the Shastra is capable of delivering the goods only when the Antakarana is ready. Therefore, preparing the Antakarana is what is meant by Karma Yoga and is what is going to be discussed here.
That discipline, any discipline is useful. That, that comes the first shloka of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Atha Yoganuशासनम, which is discipline. It is written same thing here, Karma Yoga therefore becomes an indirect means. Therefore, all disciplines are called yoga. So, Atha Yoganuशासनम. Anushasanam, that is what. It's beautiful.
So I'm just going to read this para again because there is often a confusion saying there are three ways to moksha. They say karma, jnana, and bhakti. So they bring in bhakti also, which is actually not true. There is only one way to moksha, that is through knowledge. Karma yoga becomes an indirect means for that. Jnana yoga, of course, is the direct means, which is knowledge. But karma yoga is an indirect means because it helps in cleansing the mind, and ultimately, in a cleansed mind, unless knowledge dawns, there is no moksha. Which is why a karma yogi is one who not only does karma with an attitude of a karma yogi, he is also simultaneously pursuing knowledge.
So preparing the mind is karma yoga.
Yes. So it says you cannot say I will take karma yoga and you take jnana yoga and we will both reach the same end.
Yeah.
And after the Jnana Yoga, Bhakti automatically included in it. You know, you are surrendering completely, you are surrendering. That is Bhakti. After the Jnana Yoga, ultimately Krishna says, just surrender to me. That is Bhakti, ultimate. It cannot be distinguished. This is Karma Yoga, that is Jnana Yoga, and that is Bhakti Yoga. Ultimately, it culminates into Bhakti Yoga only. After Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. All are when and how, it all depends upon the permutation and combination of so many things. Thank you.
So somewhere in the Gita, Krishna says both disciplines, both lifestyles lead to moksha. So we should not be confused then again, which is why Swamiji is mentioned here. This distinction should be very clear, this discrimination between sannyasa and karma yoga. There are two lifestyles. Because otherwise, Gita is actually full of contradictions, and which is what even Gurudev said. If we are not clear,
In the end, the knowledge is the one, getting to the moksha. So even if you do karma yoga, in the end, you have to.
It leads to Jnana Yoga. After Antakarana Shuddhi and everything.
Yeah, basically that knowledge has to happen, right?
Yes. And here he doesn't say sannyasa, he says Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is the knowledge.
Yoga
which,
is about the knowledge, the Atma, it's about the Atma.
So that is Jnana Yoga only, almost. Therefore, this Arjuna asked so many times this question, no? What is the difference? Why I have to do the karma? Again, you make me to fight. Otherwise, I will do that, sannyasa, and also tyaga. So all this, if we keep this paragraph in mind, then those confusions will not be there.
So I'll just repeat this paragraph again. In fact, these two paragraphs. So any discipline is useful because it helps one gain a certain composure, a certain mastery over the opposites, as we saw in the preceding verse. Therefore, the preceding verse was, what was the verse? Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. So, a discipline is required for us to gain a mastery over the opposites. See, for example, if we take any discipline, say the discipline of getting up at a particular time, then no matter what, if you're getting up at that time, you are getting out of your raga dveshas, isn't it? Raga for more sleep and dvesha for lack of sleep. So, whatever the whichever angle you look at it, the discipline of getting up at that time is a discipline. Similarly, a discipline of doing your daily sadhana. It requires a certain amount of having a say, a control over your mind of raga dveshas. Supposing you have only that amount of time to do your sadhana, you have half an hour's time to do your sadhana. In that half an hour time, supposing there's something more interesting in the worldly aspects, supposing there is this IPL climax or whatever match or a movie, something else that is happening, where your mind, if it was not for this discipline, would normally go. If you have this discipline, you will say, no, this is the only time I have. I'm going to do my sadhana. So there is a say over your raga and dvesha. So therefore, any discipline is useful, which is why Gurudev, see, when we understand this, we understand Gurudev is giving us knowledge, the highest knowledge in so many different ways that it is really, he is giving us the knowledge which relates to every stage of life. That's why he says, do not look down upon people, the youngsters. Don't keep pushing them. Some discipline is good. So if the youngster wants to go to the gym and he is keen on doing the gym rather than do, say, yoga, and you as a mother want him or her to do yoga, just let it be, because any form of discipline is helping them come out of raga dvesha, is giving them that strength of mind not to be under the clutches of the senses. And surely, certainly, this discipline itself will lead them sooner or later. Therefore, all disciplines are called yoga. This composure is necessary for the mind to be able to receive the knowledge. To gain the composure, you require karma yoga. Karma yoga, therefore, becomes an indirect means, not a direct means. For gaining the knowledge. So, therefore, when we go back to this, any form of discipline, any discipline, even when we look at the karma kandis, there is an element of discipline there. If you have to do any ritual, there is a whole lot of gathering items, getting up at a particular time, sitting there and doing the whole ritual. There is a lot of discipline required there. So that is why we do not look down upon anyone, because everybody is in their own stage of journey. But this discipline will help have a control over the mind. You cannot say, I will take karma yoga and you take jnana yoga and we will both reach the same end. It is not like that. If karma yoga is presented as a means for gaining the knowledge that will destroy ignorance, one may ask why the study of the Shastra alone cannot do that, which is Arjuna's question. The reason is that study of the Shastra is capable of delivering the goods only when the Antakarana is ready. Therefore, preparing the Antakarana is what is meant by Karma Yoga and is what is going to be discussed here. In praise of Karma Yoga, Krishna praised Karma Yoga, telling Arjuna that it was as important as Jnana. Karma Yoga is not something less than Jnana, since without it, Jnana will not take place. To create a certain value for Karma Yoga in Arjuna, Krishna praised it in this way. Krishna told Arjuna that the knowledge of Karma Yoga would enable him to destroy the bondage of karma. Karma bandham prahasyasi. Karma here means dharma adharma, which means punya papa, the good and bad actions that alone bind the individual. Therefore, it is called karma bandha, the bondage of karma. The karma itself is the bondage which is destroyed by knowledge made possible by karma yoga. Now, a question may arise here, that is, Knowledge destroys only ignorance, ajnana. How is the karma destroyed? That is because with the destruction of ignorance, doership is destroyed, causing all the karmas to fall apart. Thus, both sannyasa and karma yoga play a role in the destruction of samsara. But the difference between the two must be clearly understood. Otherwise, it will be said that there are various paths, such as the four paths advanced by some: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. It is also incorrect to say that there are as many paths as there are people. Addressing this lack of clarity in understanding, Shankara says that because of the grace of Ishvara, you will find yourself with a purified mind, the teaching, and the teacher. And because of all of this, you gain the knowledge. He says, being endowed with this karma yoga, Ishvara prasada nimitta jnana praptaha. By gaining the knowledge by the grace of the Lord, you will get out of the bondage of karma. A life of karma yoga prepares the mind, and knowledge releases one from the bondage. But to say here, through karma yoga, one is released from bondage, is to praise karma yoga, which is the indirect means for moksha. To have the knowledge, you have to understand that I am Brahman. There is no other way. The Lord's grace, Ishvara Prasada, is in the form of the Guru, the Shastra, the teaching, the type of mind that is required, and conducive circumstances as well. It has been everyone's experience that there can be a number of obstacles in any undertaking. In fact, by the time people come to this teaching, they have met with a lot of obstructions in life and have experienced a lot of pain. This is how they come to the teaching, and the obstructions continue. For this understanding also, then, the grace of Ishvara is required. Thus, one has to be prayerful. I think we'll stop here today. I will repeat this Karma Yoga aspect in praise of Karma Yoga again tomorrow, but let's just take a moment and reflect on what we have understood. So, one thing is very true, very clear is that knowledge is the ultimate to gain moksha. Why? Because knowledge removes ignorance, and ignorance is the fundamental problem. We are all ignorant, yes, but we may also be under the delusion that if I do this karma, this is what I will get. So, getting out of that moha, doing our karma with a proper attitude of just purifying the mind is karma yoga. So, there are no several paths to moksha. There is only one path, and that is through jnana. Karma yoga becomes an indirect means for moksha in the sense that it purifies the mind. Because only in a purified mind can knowledge dawn. Both sannyasa and karma yoga play a role in the destruction of samsara. But the difference between the two must be clearly understood. Yeah. Anyone else wants to share?
Means both lifestyles leads to the jnana only,
Both
isn't it?
lifestyles are for moksha.
Yeah, for moksha, but because without um, getting jnana, we cannot get moksha. Means
No,
jnana is the moksha again. That
correct.
means that. Hmm.
Correct. That's why, if you remember, Gurudev at one point said, no amount of what you do will get you moksha. Says, forget about it. Even your kriya, yoga, meditation will not get you moksha. It was a radical statement he mentioned. But this is what it means. We should not be under the delusion or wrong understanding that I'm doing Sudarshan Kriya and therefore I'm going to get moksha.
That
Sudarshan
will be for
Kriya,
purifying the mind
the
only.
mind.
That will lead to.
Sudarshan Kriya is required, absolutely required, no doubt, no belittling it. But it has its role in developing that discipline, in purifying the mind, creating that antakarna shuddhi.
No, after purifying the mind, you get clarity of thought, and through that you get jnana. You know. So
But
sadhana
you
is
will not just see, a person who's just doing Sudarshan Kriya,
yeah,
who's not exposed to this knowledge,
knowledge. Yeah.
will not get, he will only have a purified mind, but he has to be exposed to the teaching. Right?
Therefore, in the basic course, Guruji has included knowledge with Sudarshan Kriya. You know, otherwise we would have just finished the Sudarshan Kriya and gone. But he included the knowledge, what is impermanent and what is opposites and all that. You know, slowly, and with those 5 points, you get Antakarana Shuddhi and Jnana, and that leads to moksha. Okay.
What was you saying, Brahmaraji?
No, I didn't say anything else. So this teaching has to be, it's not enough if we just do. That is why Gurudev says, knowledge has to be in the forefront. I'm just reminded of the person in the ashram who had this habit, had the discipline. It was a discipline for him, or a ritual he was following. Before setting out, he would go take blessings from Gurudev's picture. So there's this one time that he was given uh, the blessed task of being Gurudev's driver. So he was so into that, caught up in that discipline of going and taking blessings from the picture, that he was forced to do that. I mean, he said, wait, I will just come. I will just go take blessings and come. So there was a sense, if you look at it from a broader perspective, there was a lack of discrimination. He's so caught up in that discipline of taking blessings from that picture. He is driving the person himself. He's driving Gurudev himself. So what blessings from that picture, right? So our practices should not make us blind. We should do them with that sense of understanding.
There was one example also we have read, no, that horse is that was bound with the rope to the
Yeah,
pillar.
the imaginary rope, correct.
Ha.
So our discipline has to be, it itself cannot become a bondage for us. That's what. We should understand why we are doing the discipline. Then it will become a joyous thing. It becomes a source of joy. It will not become a source of binding again. Yeah. So we'll continue tomorrow. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
चलो विल डू ए शॉर्ट मेडिटेशन. हाँ, सब लोग आराम से बैठ जाइए. एवरीवन सिट कंफर्टेबली इजली. रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधा रखे. लेट्स कीप आवर स्पाइन इरेक्ट. Let's take our attention to the top of the head. And become aware of the vast sky above the head. सिर के ऊपर विशाल गगन है. उस गगन से तरंग हमारे सिर पर पड़ रही है इस वक्त. इसका स्मरण करें. Become aware of the vast space and cosmic rays from the universe falling on your head right this moment. मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते सारे तरंगों को अपने भीतर स्वीकार करें. With a smile, receive all the vibrations, cosmic vibrations, into your body. Vedic chantings are there, are happening. All other sounds are there. Just welcome them all. मंत्र घोष भी चल रहे कहीं दूर. पूरे वातावरण में पवित्र तरंग उठ रहे हैं. इन सब को आप स्वीकार करें अपने भीतर. Let's also chant Om. हम भी 3 बार ओंकार का ध्वनि करते हैं. गहरी सांस लीजिए. रिलैक्स योर होल बॉडी, पूरे शरीर को ढीला छोड़ दें. Let every cell in our body start to relax, expand, and smile. ओम शांति शांति शांति. और धीरे धीरे आंखें खोल सकते हो. Slowly and gradually you may open your eyes.